Something that I realized over the years is that some men, not all men, are very individualistic and they are the center of the world. Not their world, but the world. These particular men don't really consider others in relation to the behavior that they're exhibiting and what other people are experiencing from them. And they really need to concentrate on interacting more with other people in a community space that is not their friends and family. And sometimes they don't even interact with family because there's the joke on TikTok of some mothers who have sons. They're in mourning that their son will be disconnected because there's a lot of people out there who don't really know their daddy side. And I don't know what dynamic that is. But through my Urban League experience and having to practically beg black men to be a part of the organization at a local and national level, there were just so many programs and strategies implemented to try to get more black men as a part of the organization. Sometimes, if it's not a fraternity or if it's not a organization that is all men, there will be very minimal participation from men. So again, some men can be a part of a family, but only the family that they create and curate and not the family that they come from. Sometimes it has to be a controlled thing. I'm thinking about when I read Will Smith's book where his wife and his kids were just kind of chess pieces in what his dream was, and he never really considered that they had their own autonomy and wants and needs. When you come from a family, you don't really have control over those people. So now you're going to go make your own family, curate your own family, pick the right woman for you, and then sometimes maybe control what the children do. Or it could be a very detached thing and it's just about legacy, like, oh, I have some offspring with my last name. And then some can definitely be a part of a friend group, but that doesn't guarantee deep connection, and it's possible, but it doesn't always happen. I even see it in the animation space that I'm in. A lot of men need to work on being in community with people who are not like them, and it doesn't have anything to do with family, friends, or career. Because even in some of the animation groups that I'm in, where it's kind of a loose networking group, men are still in there for transactional reasons because they're trying to get a job, they're trying to get an opportunity, they're trying to make money, and it's not purely because they like other human beings. And you don't even necessarily got to like the people, but to interact and be in community with other people who cannot do anything for you, a lot of men need to work on that skill set. And as far as them being the center of the world, not only their world, we already know about, interacting with men where they don't think about how their behavior affects other people. So when you think of the mental load that women have to do sometimes in a relationship, there's no thought to, I live in this house and I, use the dishes. Maybe I should wash the dishes. The woman does not have to tell you to wash the dishes. Or if you're courting a guy, you're talking to in the talking stages with a guy, and you're trying to convince another person to date you. And sometimes I've had experiences where, do you know the experience that I'm having on the other end of this relationship? Obviously some men are doing it on purpose and they don't care, but some that kind of do care, but they still are bad at it. They need to step outside of themselves. I've been in relationships where it felt like I was a single person, and some women have been in marriages like that where it's not about them cheating, it's that they want a relationship, but they don't want to interact with a person as though you are connected to the other person. They kind of want to do their own thing. And when you are wanting to be in a relationship with someone, you have to acknowledge the other person's existence. And now, if you care enough, the behaviors that you exhibit, you have to think about how they affect the other people in your life, particularly if they're in your same household, whether it's your partner or your children. I feel like this is a really big key of us getting better as a community, particularly the black community, is that everyone is so individual, like hyper individualistic. And there's this idea, I've seen it on social media, where when a man talks about protecting someone, it's always somebody he's directly in relation to. It has to be their mother, their aunt, their sister, their daughter. And then there's this like kind of unneeded mutated thought of like, oh, why am I protecting a stranger? And it's like, you don't have to necessarily protect them. You could just treat them as a human being and treat them with respect. You can interact with them as though they are a viable person, and that could be another man as well. I mean, sometimes it's easier for men to do it with other men, but you can just exist in the world as though there are other people in it. When you're walking down the street, recognize maybe I should walk on the right side of the street. When you're sitting in a subway, don't manspread because you're acknowledging, oh, this person is sitting next to me and my legs are passing this invisible plane and you're affecting somebody else. I just noticed that a lot of men need to work on being in community, not for personal gain. That, I mean, that could be any type of club or something like that, but if it's related to family, friends, and career, that's the same old, same old. That's easy to do. That's always being done. What about the people who you don't benefit from? How are you in community with them? How are you interacting? How are you learning to deal with different people with different personalities? That's how we could go to the next level in our community.